What's up, guys? Coach John Wojo here with JW Fitness answering another question for you. Should a person really get 10,000 steps a day? Is this really needed, and does it make a difference? This person goes on to say that they have an office job, they just started tracking steps, they usually only get 2,500 to 4,500 steps a day. What would the benefit be to upping your steps, etc., etc.? So, there is no set stone. I mean, obviously this came from some studies that were done. I don't recall the studies. I never read the studies. But counting your steps every day is just a good way to have a rough idea of what your non-exercise related activity is throughout the day, at least as it expresses itself in walking around. So what happens a lot when you're dieting is, well, let me backtrack. So your metabolism, the amount of energy that is required to simply live and exist and keep the lights on, so to speak, is the number one way that we utilize energy. And then I believe a close number two is your non-exercise related activity throughout the day. All the other movements that we do, all the walking around and fidgeting and all the activity that we do throughout the day that is not otherwise labeled as like intentional scheduled exercise or training. So what happens a lot is, well, so since meat is such a contributor to our overall energy expenditure, we want to make sure, we want to have some way of kind of tracking it, calculating it, just kind of maintaining it at a high level. Because what happens when you diet and you're in a calorie deficit for a long period of time is your body just naturally starts to try and conserve energy. And what it will do, you'll just generally, you're literally have low energy because you are dieting. You are not feeding yourself the amount of energy that your body requires. You are trying to withhold energy to encourage your body to go to its fat stores to provide the energy that you need. So by definition, you are low energy. And what happens is your body will try and conserve its energy by, not fidgeting as much, not walking around as much. It just kind of cuts back on its extraneous movements because, it's in a low energy state. And one way that we can try and keep that non-exercise related activity at a certain level is by tracking our steps. So it's a good idea to get in the habit of tracking your steps, knowing like what your average step is for you, whether that's, when you're not dieting, when you're having a relatively normal, like high energy week, and kind of get an idea of what that base level is. And that way, when you're dieting, you want to do what you can to at least maintain that same level of steps that you were maintaining when you were in a higher energy level state. And then you could also challenge yourself over time to add some extra steps. So let's say you're averaging 6,000, maybe you're going to try and bump that up to 7,000 per day. It gives you a number to shoot for, because the more steps you take, obviously the more energy you're expending. And the more energy you're expending, the more likely it is that you're going to be in an energy deficit and be losing fat over time. And if that is your goal, then this is certainly going to help you. All right, guys, if you appreciate the content, like and subscribe. I'll talk to you soon.